rolling live.
Need to...
So we'll
Outstanding.
we'll keep chatting till my lot get in. I'll probably end up yelling greetings to them as they come on in.
Cool.
But yeah, it just wait. I was like, wait, Twitter is down.
I know.
I don't know what to do with myself.
To express my dismay if I don't have Twitter.
How do I complain about not having Twitter?
The irony was not lost on me, but I felt a deep shame for as awkward as I felt without access to Twitter for 2 hours.
It is one of those ones I wish I could get rid of it. You know what I mean? Like I use it so much for work and like chatting with yourself and stuff. Like there's so many people. It's the only way I talk to them.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. I mean, I'm even all my industry friends and most of the people I've ever worked with. That's the main way we keep in touch. You know, we could do group texts and stuff like that, but it's just easier on Twitter.
Alrighty. I managed to find an almost a pretty PG-13 PNO3 GIF, which took some doing.
Nice. Yeah, that will take some doing.
God, I played the hell out of that game. I was that guy. Game. Yeah, I was that guy being like, well, I think you'll find that some of the soundtracks in the re-releases of Resident Evil 4 actually come from PNO3's soundtrack.
I love it. Here's the thing, though. Let's really be honest with each other right now.
Yeah.
Say that game is good.
I found that it managed to hit the whole like rhythm game niche without being strictly a rhythm game.
Right. It's definitely rhythm game adjacent. And visually it's stunning. So ridiculously hard.
Oh, true. I mean, I'm glad it dropped at that time in my life where I could just spend 2 days playing it, not have to. Also, Susan, all my lovely peoples are coming in, so I want to say hi to Dorchus, Wraith, TSCTH, Alpha the Deluge, 10 Win, Just Diver, what ho, friends! I have a wonderful guest to introduce you to today, and there may be dog barks in the background. If you hear that, it is not your imagination. Oh, God. Sorry. Smacking buttons. I guess going back on PNO3 stuff, like I do miss that kind of like hella experimental Capcom phase they went through. Like,
oh God, yeah.
That Beautiful Joe.
Oh yeah. The visual style of Beautiful Joe alone, like, because the gameplay is I wouldn't say it's standard, but it was not the most innovative thing ever. But just that combined with the visual style and the ridiculous characterization was this wonderful what were they smoking moment.
Yeah.
And I miss that era where you're like, you know what, I don't know, it came to me at like 2 a.m. I thought it sounded cool, let's make it. I miss that because you really don't get that anymore.
Yeah. I've been diving a lot into the fresh and the interesting on the indie side, but it tends to be, and this isn't a criticism, but it's like with a lot of the interesting indie games we bust out now, like, you know, these creators, they sit down, they break down what it is they want to bring forward, and they work on it for like, you know, 2 to 3 years, as opposed to kind of like that I fell out of bed Capcom hair kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, they're more focused, and they're more in what they are. Like, there's not the gaming equivalent of throwing it up against the wall and seeing if anybody likes it.
Yeah.
It's I have a vision, and I'm going to execute that, and either it connects with people or it doesn't, and that's okay. You there's just not that undercurrent of, I don't know, let's go for it, sure. Cool.
So it's a comic book, but it's also a film, and he has like a catchphrase, and then...
And really, Henshin a go-go, baby? Really?
As catchphrases go, Like, it's so good.
I love it. I very seriously considered getting a Henshin a Go-Go Baby tattoo briefly.
Well, so far I'm slowly filling my right arm with kind of like, with games we've done here, because now I'm indie. It's like, you know what? I can get gaming tattoos at different companies. Because personally I feel getting a tattoo of a gamer project you've worked on is a little bit like getting a band tattoo. Like, all it takes is a new publisher to come in and be like, so now you're making a card-based mobile dating game where everyone's a sandwich, and it's like, cool.
Wait. I'd play that.
Same, actually. I hate it when I do this. I try and give examples of bad games and come with good ones. So, Beadora, Quasi, Arden, what, old friends? Come on in. The disembodied voice on the line is an excellent person who I'm looking forward to introducing you all into. So, go get yourself a cup of tea, stretch your legs, say hello to your pets, because we are going to be hitting some serious levels of bantermancy.
We actually, we had the can you get a game tattoo if you're a game journalist conversation a few years back as well.
Ooh, and how was that?
So we came to the conclusion that it's your body and you can do whatever you want with it. Yeah. But if you do, then you can't cover the game ever again.
Oh. So it's like, do you love it enough to mark it onto your skin, but then never be able to professionally cover? That's some like end of Indiana Jones type nonsense. You know what I mean?
Right? Like, it's like, okay, but I mean, because here's the thing, like, if it matters to you that much on a personal level that you want to put it on your body for all time, you cannot possibly expect people that you are able to be objective about it.
Yeah.
Because even if you think you're being objective, you probably aren't.
Yeah.
That's okay. You're a human, but...
Oh no, I was just going to say, just jumping back into chat, because Beadora's like, I can date a sandwich? I'm in if it's also auto chess.
I'm telling you, this is a really good game idea. I mean, if you can date pigeons.
Why not a sandwich? I also feel that would lend itself well to a lot of very good innuendo as well.
Exactly.
Wow, okay, so slight change of plan, everybody. I was going to interview Susan, and we were going to talk about, like, Susan's experiences in games journalism, things that they've experienced, and, where we think it's going to go. Now, we're going to live design our sandwich dating game with card elements. That's... kind of, I think I wish I hadn't said out loud now.
I know. I'm like sitting here thinking about it, and like, okay, kinds of sandwiches, and then if you meet a sandwich, do you attempt to add things to the sandwich?
Or take away.
Right? Like, do you want to remove the cheese off the sandwich?
How does that affect it? Oh wow, see, because then if you want to go feckin' like highbrow, you can discuss the idea that while dating to date someone, sometimes you add, sometimes you take away, and is that the better or worse?
Yeah, and it's all about personal taste. So
right.
Oh wait, here's an important. Oh, and there goes the dog. That's Bridget.
Yay!
Here's a question.
Diggs! Go for it.
Are you a sandwich? Dating sandwiches, or are you a person dating sandwiches?
Ooh. Because the Sandwich Sona character creator alone would make that game.
Right?
But, because Beadora said, also, pizza is definitely a sandwich. If
No. We need to pause there. Pizza is not a sandwich. Unless wait, are you calling it an open-faced sandwich?
I am not ready for this. I am one coffee in for today, and I need several more.
Coffee.
I need the Infinite coffee. It's over there. It's within grabbing distance.
Wraith is saying that being a sandwich would make it weird. Okay, but what if you're a sandwich dating people?
Ooh, and you change yourself to suit their tastes. Oh, that's some meta-level nonsense! Don't ever tell me game ideas are hard.
I love it.
Oh. Although I will say, tweeting is hard because I still haven't tweeted out the fact that we're doing this together. So.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yo!
Sorry, I'm a few days late.
No worries. Quasi just procced off their 9 months sub. Quasi, thank you, friend. Thank you. Not too shabby.
Quasi.
I'm actually spoiled. I have a really, really good crowd here, so yeah. I do not take this lot for granted. We've discussed some seriously heavy topics here, and everyone has not only been like super excellent about it, but like, yeah, they're a wonderful bunch. Because Susan and I were chatting a little bit in the preamble about PN03, and its lead character being what's the term? What was it? There's a good turn of phrase for it, and it's
Conventionally attractive.
Yes. And what was interesting about it is that the points you were making, Susan, like, we've had that chat here on the show a whole bunch of times, and everyone's been really good about it.
Yeah.
The one that I keep, the one we've been bantering on a lot at the moment is the Monster Hunter versus Dark Souls in terms of character design. And
Okay.
Monster Hunter does the traditional, like, if you have a femme character, they have a femme outfit when you put the armor on. If you have a masculine character, they look like a battle fridge.
Right, yep.
Whereas the Dark Souls series says the clothes are the clothes, and you put them on a character and see what happens. So, like in Dark Souls, if you're wearing a boob tube, well, you're wearing a boob tube. It doesn't matter if you've got mammary glands or not.
Right.
And yeah. Oh, Quasi, thank you for the teeny tiny bits, because that's how I get fed. Right, so I'm going to bang out a tweet, and then I'm going to introduce you all to our stupendous guest. So, you've got a couple more minutes to go grab a cuppa before we get into this proper.
I'm still thinking about this sandwich thing. I'm not kidding.
Right? Because, like, the idea of changing yourself to suit the taste of others, that's a messed up level, like, personal drama right there.
I mean, that's actually, like, that's a message that, okay, silly wrapping because it's in a sandwich and you're doing all that, but there's so many...
Yeah.
So much.
Right? How did we just hit upon this? We haven't even started yet.
That's your genius. That's your genius.
I facilitate the genius of others, is what I would say. And I will be introducing all of you lovely folks in just a second.
I'll, like, work on a twine outline of this afternoon.
You could.
Good.
And the thing is, because if you never really know, if you're trying to guess people's tastes to change yourself to have them like you more, like, oh, you can get really clever with those. Really clever.
And then it's also, like, okay, change is not inherently bad.
True.
How do you know when you are changing yourself for a positive motivation as opposed to someone trying to be controlling or just not appreciating?
Bleed purple 20, bleed purple 20,
Sorry to
bleed purple
interrupt.
20, bleed purple 20, bleed purple 1, bleed purple 1,
It's gonna
bleed
take a
purple
while.
1, bleed purple 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 1, bleed
It's still
purple 1,
going.
bleed purple 1, bleed purple 350 bonus 43. Don't call my bits tiny. They're sensitive.
So, Quasi, feckin' thank you. Also, I apologise for calling your bits tiny. That's a thing I said on the internet. Great. This is the classy, high-level conversation. But in fairness, Quasi, we are dancing between, like, you know, discussing the change like change and improvement as oneself versus change and improvement for others as a like an emotional topic in video games, alongside sandwiches. I'm gonna want a sandwich today. I haven't even done the tweet yet. I'm covering.
Arc of the Conclave is saying that the dating sandwich game better have a moral on how you don't need to change yourself for others. But okay, but here we get into the territory of like, okay, let's say you have a significant other and you smoke, right? And you want to cohabitate, you want to move in together, and they're like, no, you are not going to live with me unless you quit smoking. Now, quitting smoking is a good thing.
Yeah.
So, the motivation is you're doing it for somebody else. Does that inherently remove the value of doing this objective good thing that you wouldn't do if left to your own devices? You know what I mean?
Like, the difference between, like, improving your physical health for the visual aesthetic of others, or improving your physical health to make yourself healthier. Like,
there you go. Yeah.
Oh. Because, you see, the thing is, you can use shorthands with sarnies that would be, I don't want to say offensive, but like, what if someone is gluten intolerant? What if someone can't have cheese? And so you're changing yourself for the physical betterment. But what if someone's like, oh, you know, I'm not against pickles, I just don't want them near me. Like, yeah, so you've got a shorthand of all the stuff that would be really, that does happen, would be garbage trashy to talk about. Holy crud, how is this idea so good?
Like, we kind of have to actually do it now.
Darn it. Alright, well, this is how game development starts.
Yep.
Fictional Longship Studios presents A Sandwich Game by Susan Arendt. I am including the emotional sandwiches.
Oh yeah, obviously. Oh god.
Join us. Oh. Okay, from 0 to game concept, this has got to be the fastest.
Probably, yeah. And I don't know if Arc of the Conclave is suggesting fleshing this out at a game jam, or nope, there it is. It is the peanut butter and game jam. Okay, there it is. All right.
It was always going to be a pun.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, tell me I didn't just fake that tweet up. That would be. No, I managed to.
It worked.
I did the thing. God, people are going to start thinking I know what I'm doing soon. A terrifying concept. Right. So, tweets have been deployed. I am blepping at a few other go live channels just to let people know we're here. I'll try and. Where's my shameless self promotion? Okay, job's good. So, bloody hell. Now we're gonna fucking. Yeah, now we're gonna make a dating game about sandwiches. And very quickly, I do want to say another thank you to Quasi for throwing bits in my face. Like, Susan, like, since last we spoke, I think was. Did we hear you speak last PAX West?
Oh, I haven't been to. It's been a minute since I was at PAX West.
Feck. So yeah, so it might have been PAX West 2017. It's like
that sounds likely, yeah.
Since then, I've gone fully indie. So this is what I do now. I get to hang out with these numpties and hang out on the daily. So yeah, left that games industry life behind.
I've heard worse ideas, honestly. You know, this crew seems pretty dang cool to hang with on a daily. So
right. Okay. So to all of you that have shown up, what and welcome. It is my esteemed pleasure, friends of all descriptions, to introduce you to the wonderful Susan Arendt. Now, if you haven't heard of Susan before, that's understandable. Like, they have been the person behind a great many words and a great many sites. And I believe when I try and explain to people who you are, I was like, you were there during kind of like the heyday of The Escapist. You're with Games Radar till they closed. You have...
No, Games Radar still exists.
What was the one that you...
Joystick.
Oh, Joystick! I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So with Joystick till they closed, you have written for an inordinate number of sites, both in and out of gaming, and are the only other person in the industry who knows PNO3 as well as I do.
Indeed. And what ho to your lovely audience.
So, I guess just to give these lovely folks a little bit more grounding into your experience. So, can we do like a cliff notes of your journalistic exploits?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I started off writing news for free at 1UP, and then got a job writing news for Wired's Game Life blog, which was run by back in the day, run by Chris Kohler, and went from there to work for The Escapist, eventually became editor-in-chief of The Escapist. If you ever liked The Escapist, it's when I was there. I'm just...
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Went from there to Joystick, went from Joystick to Games Radar, and have been doing the Continue podcast ever since Games Radar, which is ostensibly about video games, but is also usually about other silly nonsense. And I've written for Polygon. I've written for I've written for places that don't exist anymore. It's been a hot minute that I have been doing this stuff.
No worries. Actually, what was the name of that podcast? Because I'll drop it in chat for people's.
Continue.
Sorry, what was that?
Continue.
Continue podcast.
It's
Okay.
Continue Pod on Twitter if you would like to follow us.
Was the last one about Wing Commander?
Yep. I'm so sorry. Okay. Look, so here was the plan.
Go for it.
It was our 50th to do something special, and we had before on a lark, on the anniversary of Hackers, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Hell's yes, by the way.
One of the greatest comedies ever, and we did a live viewing of that because it was free on YouTube, and we watched along, and it was and Dave Roberts, one of the three of us, had never seen it, so it was great. So we wanted to do that with Super Mario Brothers.
Okay.
You cannot stream Super Mario Brothers anywhere.
What?
Legally. I mean, I'm sure there's some torrent site you can get it from, but yeah, you cannot get it anywhere. So we're like, okay, well, heck, we need a plan B. And I saw Wing Commander in the theater when it came out, and I remembered it as being, hey, that's not bad. I was wrong. It's so terrible. And not even like a fun terrible. It's just, and I apologize deeply from the bottom of my heart for confusing anybody, I feel like I tricked people into watching it with us. So,
like, to know where we're going, we must look at where we've come from. And, I saw I think it was the leaked trailer of the Monster Hunter film, which is being made by the Resi Evil team. And on the one hand, it does contain people in army jeeps, but on the other, like, the way they've modeled, like, the Diablos and the in-game creatures looks really authentic. And I'm like, I was reading some of the discourse back and forth about this, and I'm like, you don't know how bad it can be. You don't know how bad it could be. I was there when Wing Commander came out, and I was like, oh, cool, it's Matthew Illard. He's cool, people. All right. No. Matthew Illard could not save Wing Commander the movie.
No. Shirtless Matthew Lillard could not save that movie.
Oh, it turns out, complete tangent, Matthew Illard's massive nerd. He's absolutely one of us. He's, like, massively into the D&D scene here in Seattle and stuff.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, he was the Wizards did, like, a live show recently for their new expansion for D&D. And there he is on stage with, like, one of the McAvoy. oh darn it, one of the Mabanff crew and a whole bunch of like D&D peeps. I was like, cool.
All right, that's pretty cool. I would totally hang out with him. Like, I question some of his life choices, but I would absolutely hang out with him.
Hells yes. And just not bringing up hackers would be the hard one.
Oh no, I would lead with hackers. It's gold. It is pure gold. Like that. Okay. It is. It is objectively not a good movie. It makes me so happy. And really, as an entertainer, that is all you want. You want to make people happy with your craft. Yeah. So, mission accomplished. Well done. Serial killer. I love you forever.
Okay, I could talk about the 20th anniversary screening of Hackers and that movie until the cows come home. However, I have brought you onto this show because, Susan, you have seen so much of the games industry from a very, very unique spot, and I really want to, I guess, share some of those stories, share some of that knowledge with our wonderful band of miscreants, because, like, things are so strange in the games industry right now.
They really are.
I've stopped saying it feels like we're in a transitory period because it's felt like that for like the last 7 years.
I agree. I completely agree with that.
And where a lot of people predicted we were going to end up with another major transition in how we talk about games, we've actually ended up with this weird, like, symbiotic triforce of ridiculousness. And I guess I wanted to go into some of your experiences in the before times, and
in long ago, yes.
In the long ago, when it was naught but a dance between PRs and journos, when blogs were beginning to reach their power, but were a mystical force not understood.
Oh, yeah, because a lot of people compare what's happening now with the rise of influencers with the rise of digital, and it's not quite the same.
Right?
So back in the before time, in the long ago, when print was this Godzilla force.
Yeah.
It was a dirty word.
Yeah, well, in the UK we had, what was it? Fucking Future Publishing. And Future Publishing owned everything. So every official X magazine, so official Sony, official Sega, they had Edge, they had, I think they had PC Gamer, but I don't remember. They definitely had, like, they had everything. This monolith of journalism.
They still do. And the UK is a little different from the US because print, to a certain degree, viable.
Yeah.
In the UK, because the UK is smaller. The United States, forget it. Like, you got your super niche stuff, and that's it. Yeah. By the way, of one particular notion, subscription fees do not make a magazine run. They don't cover the cost of making the thing, making a physical product, because paper is wicked expensive, and so is postage. So yeah, it's all via advertising. Second thing, advertisers still to this day would rather be in print. They would rather be in a magazine than be on a website.
Okay.
Right? Because it's this sort of, it's what they know. They understand how to sell print. They understand how to measure success in print. It's a known business model to them. They're very reluctant to branch out to websites because they just it's very wibbly. So, which is like, really? You'd rather be in something that is like a month behind, and that, yes, the answer is yes, they rather would.
As it was explained to me from like PR sales and peeps like that, it's that they have a really, really simple system for equating value when it comes to physical print, because you can say, we pay X and it will go in this many magazines to this many people. Whereas like a website wraparound ad, it's like, all right, well, we're going to see this many impressions, but maybe this many click-throughs, but the engagement rate. And I've seen ad companies do like numerical gymnastics to demonstrate value for those kinds of ads.
Oh yeah. And then it's because print is a thing. You stick it in a magazine. The magazine goes to it's tangible and finite. When you get into the digital space, okay, well, are we talking about impressions on the site? Are we talking about impressions via social media? Are we talking about, is it engagement or is it click through? Is it page views? Is it some combination of all of those things? And frankly, they don't want to do the math. They don't want to try and take it to these companies and say, oh, well, your ROI on that was 3.4%, and that's really very good. They don't want to bother having that conversation, so they just try to do more traditional stuff.
Yeah. Alanis is saying, so they'd stick with the devil they know, which they can't actually know, because who the heck knows if your advert on the fish wrapper works or not. Right.
Correct.
Advertising is still dark magic.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. It's ridiculous. So that's one way in which this is not a similar transition to print versus blog. So there was print, and then blogs started because quick history lesson: the internet didn't always exist.
Let gasp.
Yeah, like it's difficult to remember a time when it wasn't in your pocket.
Oh God,
at all times, right? But yeah, I mean, and when I originally started looking for or when I originally wanted a job writing about video games, you had to live in Chicago or New York, because that's where they published the magazines.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as working remotely. There wasn't an internet thing. Forget that, right? So then blogs came up.
Yeah.
They were not held to the same standards. They didn't have the same process. Anybody could have a blog. Anybody could write about whatever they wanted. It could be true. It could be not. It could be based on an interview. It could be just observations, whatever. So it was this wide open thing with terms of like quality and accuracy and intent.
Yep.
Always assume the intent of a print publication. You could not do that with the digital space. But then everybody started figuring out, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Cred for this online stuff, it moves a lot faster.
Don't have to wait for it to
can
go
be
to
updated. Yeah. And if you get something wrong, you can fix it.
Yep. See, and even Tiny Dog agrees with this. Like, everyone's on board.
Bridget the middle dog is like, yes, that's what happened. And that's when I entered the arena. I was in that sort of the beginning of the transition time of blogs gaining legitimacy.
Yeah.
And so it was it was like scratching and clawing to be taken seriously. Like, no, we are trying to but we're trying to do it in a digital format so that we can reach more people more effectively, more efficiently. We can turn stories around faster. We can have a lower overhead so we can do a wider variety of stories. And that was really what we did with The Escapist. We wanted to do, print quality stuff digitally.
Yeah.
And that we got a lot of laughter, flat out laughter, for the first several years we were trying to do that. Like, oh, that's cute. You want to be a magazine. Aren't you adorable? I remember specifically a journalist who was at Kotaku at the time, who is no longer there.
Did he review an onion?
He did not. He did not. But what he did was he's like, oh, yeah, your magazine's so good it can't be printed on paper, and actually laughed in my face. And I was like, I'm going to remember you.
Susan will remember this.
Indeed did. So, yeah, I held that grudge for a number of years. And
it's fine. They got bought out by Gawker, and now they have terrifying deadlines in terms of impressions and click-throughs, so swings and roundabouts.
That person did not last as a game journalist for perhaps obvious reasons. But anyway, so the difference now as I see it is and sites are more, the benefits are more closely aligned, right? Like They have the same kind of time frame, the same potential distribution. It's just all about who you're trying to reach, and do you really want the super niche fans who love Dark Souls, or do you want a broader?
Yeah. Also, very quickly, just because Eric's popped in here saying, "I love Susan." Back at you, friend. Back at you.
Mwah! Hi, Eric.
I've been lucky enough to interact with. I was lucky enough to interact with Susan back when I was game dev side, and then just ended up just staying in contact. And when I was over at the New Zealand game dev, you were like, "Can you pick me up some PAX Oz pins?" I'm like, "I got you.
Yeah. And he did, and that was awesome.
Yeah, I actually now have a tub of Penny Arcade pins myself, but that's another story.
I have gotten so many people into that by accident. I almost feel bad.
Almost.
But not really.
Almost feel bad. That's why my auto alert everybody is not doing its job, so I just need to smack something with a hammer very quickly.
Alpha of the Deluge says, or as you'll see more often than not, if you get something wrong, you can write a whole new post and just leave the old one up without any edits whatsoever. Here's why you don't do that. A, ethics. But B, the first post will have more Google juice, already established SEO. So you want to update that to build on your SEO instead of splitting it and robbing yourself of your own traffic. Yeah.
There we go. Analytics.
Right? Sexy.
I mean, it's not a world I have to live in like I used to, but the flashbacks are real. The flashbacks are real. Don't post more than twice a day on Facebook, and make sure you only update the website blog every, 31 hours for like maximum Google foo.
The worst. And then you have to, this article that's been here, we need to just change some words in the first paragraph every 30 days. Oh my God, please stop. Oh God.
Okay. So, you've come onto the scene at the same time as kind of like the rise of blogs. So, how was it interacting with games PR in those initial times? Because like they're used to being like, directly interacting with, a print publication, with outlets in that manner. What was it like attempting to do that same kind of interaction, but as an online outfit?
You really had to prove that you were serious, you were attempting to do a serious job, and that there was value for them in working with you. We worked with BioWare. The Escapist back in the day was actually a sister site with a site called Warcry, which was very, very RPG heavy.
Oh, wow.
Crunchy, very, very crunchy site. BioWare originally was willing to work with us because they knew we sort of had this baked in RPG loving audience. So that was why we got to be there for the Dragon Age preview and establish that relationship with them. And then once we got a few different major publishers to work with us, and then we could create the work off that, then we could point them other people at stuff like, look, right? Like, don't you want us doing this stuff? Yeah. And it took a hot minute. It did. I remember the first E3 I ever attended for The Escapist was just awful.
Yeah, I mean, more for the crowd, because I'm assuming that was still E3 at its heyday. And
Oh yeah. That was when E3 still mattered, because there was no such thing as streaming a press conference.
Yeah.
Again.
What the heresy is this you speak of, Susan?
I know.
Videos on the internet.
Exist yet?
Oh God.
Facebook didn't exist yet, I don't think, at the time. Or if it did, it was still just for college kids.
How timid. That's a terrifying thought.
I know. I'm old. I am an old person. I've been writing about video games for close to 20 years. It's ridiculous. So, it was just the first year we went there. It's like, I'm sorry, you're with who? And what kind of site is that? What do you do? Okay. wait here. That was just my entire experience the first year of E3.
Oh no.
It got better.
It does get better.
It did. But that was, oh my god, I just went back to my hotel room every night. It was just ugh. So yeah. So that's what it's like. It was very much, now I feel like is ingrained in the idea of, oh, there's just this random person who has an audience. So who is the audience? What size is it? Does that fit with our plans?
Yeah.
And also ability to just download a game, as opposed to back when we were doing it, you had to get a physical copy of the game.
Gotcha. And
so
that was also a big part of like E3's ecosystem, is like, because you weren't just looking for journos who had the most amount of reach, but journos that could, journalistic outlets that could affect purchasing habits. So, and I know that's
very much so.
I know that's very obvious for you, Susan. I love talking about this stuff. But so things like official Xbox magazine, if your game is coming out on Xbox, they get the red carpet treatment. They get a cheeky handy and the whole shebang. Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, they get flown out long before E3, so they can check everything out, because I mean that was. There's the whole demo disc that it used to come with.
Oh, dear Lord.
If your game was on the demo disc, you had a built-in guaranteed audience who was going to at least try it.
Yes, I just wanted to very quickly apologize for use of the term cheeky handy. Unfortunately, when I was doing like PR interaction stuff, there were a lot of horrendous terms we used. I do want to apologize for that. I endeavor to be a better person these days. But yeah, so going back onto it, you had the demo discs, which would absolutely affect purchasing habits. And there were sites that would... there were outlets that were known for having the firsts, and outlets that were known for having the industry angle. If you had like a super highbrow game, so something like Okami or stuff like that, you absolutely wanted, say, I'm just going to use British examples, but like Edge to cover it, because they were known for being like a games industry. Like, if you were into arty video games, you read this one. So
right. Yeah.
The direct purchasing effect of that was visible.
Absolutely true. Yeah, and I mean, you have to. You only have perhaps 10 review copies. Like now, if they say like, "Oh, we're out of review copies," they're lying. I'm sorry, but they're lying, because they can get a code, and you can download it. Very, very rare exceptions to that. There were physical copies, and once they were out of them, they were out of them.
Yeah.
The end. So it was a much different environment for trying to gain mindshare of the PR.
Indeed. Teeny tiny tangent. When I was living in London, I was pretty close to a trade-in game store that was near where Future Publishing, I mean, I think they've moved now, but where they were at.
Oh my god.
So I used to be able to get so many games before they came out, because they'd go pick up all these, like, Xbox One or 360 copies of games, get sent to them, and they'd be like, all right, reviewed it. And so, like, 2 days before games come out, you've just got a shelf of review copy, not for resale. Price, 20 quid.
Oh, that's amazing.
So good.
I love it.
Okay, so you've entered into the scene. You've brought a website into the same space where physical print media has been ruling with an iron fist. And friendos, we are going to get onto questions and things like that. So absolutely, do stash the questions in your mind. Write them on Post-its. Etch them into your wall if you need to. I want to give as many people in the audience kind of enough context to be able to hit with some decent questions. So do bear with us. Although, Susan, if you see one you want to answer, you're free reign. Like,
thank you.
They listen to me talk all the bloody time. Like, go ham. So, what was the biting point for you when you realized that you were making ground in that space?
Oh gosh. It was a gradual thing. I think when we started getting invited to press junkets.
Okay.
Literally, like we went. There was some dune buggy event for a Bethesda game. There was that. There was something in London. Like when we started to be at the events with Kotaku and IGN, then
Yeah.
it was like, oh, okay, all right, I get you.
Oh, very
And-
quickly for the uninitiated, how would you describe a press junket?
Oh, press junket. Okay. So a press junket is you are brought to a location. It might be where the game dev is. It might not be. It is more often than not a hotel or something. And then you play the game for a while. You junket, not a review. I don't advocate going on site to do reviews. I don't think that's appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's you get access to a certain amount of the game. You have a certain amount of time to play it. You typically have access to some of the devs, maybe the writer, maybe the producer, the director, and you get to interview them. And after you've gotten to play the game, and then you have an embargo, you leave with assets. You have X amount of time to write up your impressions and interviews and such, and that's your content. My favorite one of those. This one, the one for Destiny is legendary.
Go for it. I actually don't know about this one.
Oh, you don't know that? Okay.
Because
all
Imp was bringing up the one at Richard Garriott's house where they had like dune buggies and explosions.
I was at that one as well.
You were at that, the Tabula Rasa one. Feckin'.
I was, yes. I went to the Tabula Rasa one, which, okay, so we'll start with that. Okay, so the Tabula Rasa one.
Story time with Susan.
First of all, for those of you who are not aware, lives in a castle.
Legit castle.
It is an actual castle with secret passages, and like there's a flagstone going up to his house that if you step on it, a fountain squirts you. He has a full-size carousel on the front lawn.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. Like you do. He has a completely separate building full of automatons and antique puppets and dolls and machines and toys. He has Sputnik satellite in one of his rooms.
Okay.
Like you do. So yeah, okay. So we go to his house, and there's this. He's a nice man, but he's definitely out there. It is hot, drowning in our own sweat.
Oh.
To be 50, 60 of us there, and we're taken out to the room to the building with the automatons. We're all crammed in there, and there's a magician, and he's doing some tricks. Cool, great, whatever. I'm dying. It is so hot. I'm like, okay, what is worse? Slipping out the back while this guy is doing his thing, or actually passing out? Which one is going to reflect on me more poorly? Fortunately, neither happened. And I'm like, oh, praise Jesus, we're outside now. It's still like Texas in July, but it's better than being in that room. Now, fortunate. And a fortune teller? Because all I remember is there was an oily dude sitting on some satin pillows in a tent. Not entirely sure what was happening there. Okay.
I mean, it's a Garriott Castle party. Lord
Garriott,
British to his friends.
Indeed. This house is lovely, by the way. It's absolutely lovely. Someone did get stuck inside the secret passage, but it was fine. They were only in there for like 5 minutes. It was okay. So then we get bust out, where he's building his second castle.
As if one castle's not enough.
Well, I mean, you know, he has a lot of stuff. Oh, and an actual human skull. I forgot about the actual human skull he has in his basement.
No. Richard, no.
Yeah. I'm like, has anyone ever told this man? Maybe not. I don't think so. Okay. So we get bussed out to the location of his second castle, which is under construction. So there's like bricks and rebar and whatnot, and it's all like we have to stay in this one like very small space because it is an actual construction site and therefore quite hazardous.
Okay.
All given hard hats to put on.
Okay.
Were taken away. I forgot about that part. Yeah, they took our phones away. Okay. This is where the explosions happen. The idea is that it's an alien invasion and the aliens are attacking because Tabula Rasa is all about aliens and controlling. And then Richard's brother flies a helicopter in through the fire. What does this have to do with a video game, man? I don't understand. We're just all agog, just staring at this. Like every single one of us is just, what is actually happening? I don't understand. And then we are bussed back to the mansion for food.
Just casually. All right, back on the bus.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's great. Oh, I skipped the part that happened the day before.
No, go for it.
Are you aware of how astronauts train to be in zero gravity?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I think I. Please do tell. Please do tell.
Okay. And also, this is also how they filmed the zero gravity parts of Apollo 13. Is they go
the vomit comet.
The vomit comet, yes, which is a big old airplane that goes up and down and up and down and up and down in parabolic to make you float, just like when you go down a hill on a roller coaster and you float up in your seat.
Yeah.
That, but in an airplane. So we went on that, and I flew in zero gravity, like you do.
As you do.
And we did that, and it was freaking amazing.
Yeah, because a lot of people were seeing from the sidelines, like, because Richard Garriott went by the moniker of Lord British at, like, E3 and GDC and all of that, because he was known for doing the Ultima series, and as he was moving into Tabula Rasa, which was going to be the next big thing, he was getting into this weird space phase. So,
yes.
Did he actually go to space? I know he was really keen on the idea.
I think he did, actually, yeah.
I'm going to Google that while we're chatting.
Yeah. They had us send our DNA into space.
Okay. Wait. Do I want to know how? Like, did you have to give like a tooth or something?
They sent us a swab to swab our mouth, and they gained journalism DNA in space.
So there's possibly a species type scenario that might happen in like 30 years of game journos.
Could be. Yeah.
I'd watch that film. I don't want to live it, but I'd watch it.
No, yeah, I would watch that. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you for telling that story, because I'm reading about the Tabula Rasa press junket was one of my favorite things. Now, you mentioned the Destiny one. That's what I want to hear about, because I've actually not heard about it.
Okay. The thing that happened with Destiny was Bungie wasn't ready to announce it.
Okay.
Which retail store it was that leaked it.
Oh.
But an ad was leaked for Bungie or for Destiny, and Bungie's like, well, damn it, now we have to do something. We have to get some kind of press for this. We can't just have it out there and not have any kind of coverage.
Yeah.
Okay, so they real quick, they round a bunch of us up and fly us out to Seattle. Okay. They show us a few concept pieces, a little bit of the music. Because they don't have anything ready. They don't have anything ready to show. And this is a matter of, like, they had days to turn this around.
Oh no!
So, nothing. So we're there, and it's at least 50 of us, maybe even 100. And we're sitting there, and we're ready. We are ready. We are in this auditorium because Bungie has have like a little like movie theater. so
Yeah.
that they can review footage and, you know, look at it and be like, well, I think this is, and share it with the team. So that's where we are. So we are in this perfect space for us to be like, there's, you know, floor to ceiling screen. We are ready. And they've got some sketches, ideas, and a logo, and a little bit of music. And they're like just telling us what it's going to be like in the 3 pillars of Destiny. And
Oh
they
no!
oh God, it was, and we're sitting there like, I'm sorry, what is happening right now? What is this? I don't understand.
No. See,
And
I'll go for it. I was just gonna say, game dev side, that's the nightmare. Like, I have been stuck on stage. We were doing like an on-stage demo once, where because of a technical issue, the shaders weren't compiled. So they go from the video to what's meant to be the gameplay section, and for 10 minutes, it's just a loading screen.
Oh God.
Me and Craig on stage, full auditorium, and had to just fill the air with banter.
Oh no.
And I've told this story. I watched this. I didn't have to do it, thank feck. When was it Metro? I want to say the second one, when they had a full power failure on stage at E3. Like, not just like broken build, like no power, and they mined the entire demo. So the guy on stage just starts telling people, and all the handlers just fall into step, doing like guard patterns between the journos, and they just mime like stealth takedowns and stuff.
Oh God.
But yeah, that's the nightmare of being like, we've got 50 journos here. What can we show them? Well, we've got some concept art.
I mean, about the leak beforehand.
Yeah.
Once we understood, hey, this was okay, then we got it. We still, you know, we didn't love it. We weren't gonna leave them off the hook or anything. But it's like, I feel ya. That sucks. I am sorry. But in that moment, there were 50 people looking like, what are you doing? Across the country for this. On a moment's notice, I flew across the country. This is what you're doing? First of all, how dare you? Like, it was...
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Shouldn't laugh.
It was not good. But now, I mean, knowing the situation, it's like, oh God, I'm so sorry. Oh God. But yeah, so that was the Destiny one.
Lordy. So going back into I almost said the saga of Susan then, and I apologize for saying that out loud.
It's okay.
Going back into the story of you. So online site journalism it's picking up, it's taken off. The Escapist is now part of the main rotation of sites. You are getting invited to press junkets.
Yep.
So the other reason why I feel that having you on the show is really, really valuable is because from what I saw, The Escapist in its heyday was one of the first to start utilizing content creation, like, you know, them vidges as part of their as part of the site. So I don't want to go into it too heavy, but what was the hook on that one when you saw that there was a value in bringing these things in house?
Well, okay, it depends on. It was 2 different ideas.
Okay.
Escapist, the features editor, Russ Pitts, was moved to create a video team. And so we tried to create a bunch of our own shows. Some did better than others. And then we realized, because our team was very small, really, really small, we could not compete with the kind of quality that people doing it on their own could. Not have the time to sink into it, to spend X amount of time doing a video on top of doing all the other stuff that we had to do to make the site run, because we couldn't afford to have a dedicated creative team only doing videos.
Yeah.
So we tried to make some ourselves, and then that didn't work because it was just too time intensive. And then that's when we started to reach out to content creators, and we ran the contest and where we found Loading Ready Run with Unskippable, and
what's going on with Loading Ready Run now? I mean, what are they just doing, like a couple of small shows or something? I'm actually fucking wearing a Lur shirt today.
Yeah, they ended up doing pretty okay.
They did it right.
Yeah, they did okay. Yeah. So yeah, and then the video stuff we did was just as supplements for the written content that we did, because we were always very, like, the stuff we did in house, that was really focusing on the written stuff. We knew that, outsource the video to people who were really passionate about it, and that's the one thing they do.
Yeah.
And then it's mutually beneficial. They get an audience, we get content, everybody wins.
Yeah, and I just wanted to hit on that one real quick, just because. So I guess here comes the big crutch. Wow, and literally at the hour mark. Damn, we are good at this. We are good at this. Okay, so here comes the crux. Here's the bit that I want to talk about today. Is that print media is pretty much dead. At least in the gaming space, there are a few holdouts.
Agreed.
But it does not have the weight and the impact it once did. And when the rise of the content creation came, everyone predicted it was going to be the same bounce. So what Susan was talking about earlier, of how the kind of the blogosphere and websites pushed print journalism out, people theorized that this current, that especially when YouTube was at its golden 2 years, when the content was good, the platform was good. People theorized that this was going to happen again. Major sites were going to end up being pushed out. Content creation was going to be brought in. But what's happened is we ended up with this symbiosis. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. Because we see with some sites, like, I'm going to pick on Polygon a little bit today, because their in-house content creation team is currently exceptional. Feck, my point just dropped right out the back of my skull. Help me out here, Susan. We got people making the videos. We got people writing the words.
Here's the thing about the whole the different, why this is different between when blogs were challenging print versus content creation challenging blogs, because they both have the whole, like, anybody can do it. Whereas blogs were easier to centralize.
Yeah.
And get paid for. That's the real key. It's much harder to do that with video. The revenue model is much different with video. You're not going to, like, you get a bunch of different bloggers together, you stick it on one site, boom, you're done.
Yeah. Nailed it.
And it's not like, well, your article did this many, so you get paid this much, and no, it's very much, everybody understands it's a collective. To pull off with a video network.
It is. Just, I guess, touching on it very briefly, a few teams have tried doing this, and this is not, I know a bunch of people over there, so this isn't me throwing stones, but like Rooster Teeth, they're doing in-house content creation, they developed the No. They still ended up getting acquired by external companies to keep themselves upright. Like, what we saw with operations like Polaris that were trying to do that same thing of content creators banding together as a network. They did. Machinima's dead. Like, yo.
And part of that difference is, and this is, again, this is like the least sexy conversation in the entire world, but a lot of it just comes down to hosting and bandwidth. Because a blog, it's nothing. Like, you pay $20 to WordPress and you're good. You can't do that with video. You have to host video somehow.
Yes.
Or if you're a streamer, you've got to have the technological ability to stream.
Yeah, I'm entirely reliant on Twitch as a platform. Like, if Twitch keels over tomorrow, I'm done. Like,
yeah,
exactly. If your WordPress site falls over, I mean, there's always GeoCities. But my point is that content is so easily transferred from one point to another.
Exactly. And it's so much smaller. It's there's technological issues, there's revenue issues. It's just they're for doing that as anything other than an individual doesn't work super well yet. Whereas really the only difference between a magazine and an online blog, the format.
Yeah,
One's in paper and one's digital. The concept is exactly the same otherwise.
And no, it's very interesting talking about that because, like, I am fully aware that I'm only able to, sustain this show, sustain this operation because I'm a solo individual. Like, we're not reliant on 5 different shows all doing well simultaneously. We're not reliant on, I don't have to fund 8 people's lives. If I can keep myself alive, the show keeps going.
Exactly. Like, you think about it like, okay, let's get a channel. Let's get 5 different people.
Yeah.
They each do X number of hours a week. That takes the burden off, and we share it all. You're not going to make enough money for all of those people to actually earn a living off it.
No.
You're not.
I mean, it is the mystical goal. Me and my buddy Tal have often talked, like, if I get crazy, I'll hire him up. But that's a mystical goal. Like,
yeah.
Cavine's saying Thor and Shay. Oh, so Thor and Shay are a couple of friends of ours who do full-time content creation and game development. So they have kind of like a simultaneous revenue stream. Sales of the game and what they make from streaming come together. But they're still only a 2-person operation.
Yeah.
But anyway, I could talk about the financing nonsense behind content creation until I literally vomit blood from my eyes.
I'm sorry, like, this is like the least interesting conversation, but like this is the stuff. This is how things go.
This is important, and what's really interesting right now is that the third part of this trifecta is in-house content from game developers. Because here's the day. Now, this is where Will's stories come in a little bit. Because Will was brought in on that wave of YouTube. The reason I moved into community management, PR marketing, all of that, was because I had a little bit of a post-production background, just a little, and I have absolutely no qualms in making a tit of myself on the internet. So we were dealing with the death of the Dev Diary. Dev Diaries are boring. People don't watch them. Some are good, but on average, people don't like being talked at, and they don't like those kind of like super curated, like, the focus unfocus on concept art being drawn on a table, the walk through the development area. People don't
stop it. Oh, stop. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what they did was they started bringing people on camera who were basically the same as fans, but in-house. And,
Yep.
So we were about like 4 or 5 months behind like Nika Harper, legends like that. And so we were just like, we love the game that we're making, and we do like very, very unscripted, very, very real videos about the thing. And what we've seen is that this continued. I don't need to tell any of you in chat that, like, Warframe have been streaming once a week for, like, 6-7 years now? TennoCon, their recent live-streamed event, was one of the biggest, had, like, was it 500,000 concurrent viewers on Twitch?
Wow, Jesus.
Right.
Wow.
And that content is being produced in-house. And, Susan, I'm sorry I keep bringing up stuff that's, like, trauma level nonsense, but like, how many times have you sent like a written blog by a games company to repost or otherwise?
That doesn't happen that much anymore.
Oh, thank God. It was never good.
Oh, it was like, oh, honey, like, oh, we'd love to do a guest post. I bet you would. No, that's not how that works. Interestingly,
go for it.
The one area where it still happens is mobile.
Yes, they've got money though.
Yeah, that's true.
They
do.
And for those that might not have encountered it, in mobile, they have a marketing speak which called user acquisition, and because of the way that you can track things via the interwebs, they will spend vomit-inducing amounts of money to get people to click through. So they'll be like, "We want to do a guest post," and we will pay you like tens of thousands of dollars. so long as you put this link through. And for them, that's still cheaper than advertising in other spaces. That's something I could get to. I just feckin'. But the point being is that dev blogs get awful traffic. Viewers don't want to read blogs. Viewers want to read patch notes and occasional announcements, but if you write a gorgeous, in-depth article as a games company about your game that you love, people just go, like, and so we didn't see that back in the kind of the main site. Like, game companies couldn't challenge game sites for talking about their own games. But now they can create content. Nintendo don't even bother inviting people. They just put out a video.
Yep.
And so I guess, Susan, like, bringing these all points together is like, what are your takeaways from this trifecta of, like, you know, traditional journalism, content creation, and in-house assets? This triforce of wisdom that we got going down.
The thing that's... So what drove the first sort of sea change thing that is driving this sea change, except we didn't realize it then, and I think we're only just realizing it now, is consume content. Now people they want what they want when they want it. The idea, what do you mean I can't read this until next Wednesday? I mean, you see this with this is why things like Stranger Things, the entire season is released at once, because this idea of having to wait for the next whatever is very antiquated at this point. That is very passé. That's a TV model. And so with so many people talking about whatever it is you're interested in, whether that's Warframe, whether that's Wolfenstein, whether that whatever, they want to, and they're much better at going and finding it, as opposed to sitting there and letting it come to them. They will go find it. And it's a very, very different person who is now consuming this content in the way that they are consuming it. And the developers got smart a while back. I talked about Warcry a while back. Warcry, and I guarantee nobody here ever remembers this, a collection of information about RPGs. Like, if you wanted to know all of the different daggers you could get in Elder Scrolls 2, there was a page for it. It was a wiki.
The situation
it was just
more
a wiki for lots and lots of different RPGs. And then the developers went, wait a minute, we can just do that ourselves. It's our info. Why aren't we just hosting it on our own site? They never bothered with it before because getting people to visit their site wasn't that important.
Yeah, but when GameSide, we suddenly realized that keeping people within, and I hate saying it out loud, keeping people within the ecosystem was ideal.
Yep.
And that, especially with the rise of sites like Curse and fan wikis and things like that, it was real easy to just put your own data online. Also, whoever that was that just threw $3, thank you kindly. We were informed by a WOM that the situation requires more ice cream. And if you haven't played Whoopo, Susan, I can't recommend it enough.
I have not, but is that where the duck is from? No,
the duck is from some bizarre anime about ducks. I found a gif of a dramatic duck on the internet, and I was like, yes, I need this.
Obviously.
So I'm going to bring up Whoopo and send that to you as well. I'm sorry.
Okay, yes, please.
The amount of games I've just been throwing at you today. I'm sorry.
No. That's God. There's so many games, man. There's so, I'm actually in a place of too many games.
I live. Dude, just try and play a game every day on stream, and you'll still have too many games.
It's true. It's absolutely true. It's true.
I'm not complaining though. I'm not complaining. Also, so if you do try Whoopo, just as an FYI, it looks cute and adorable. It's brilliant and satirical and funny, and it's so well made. It's so well made.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
But yeah, sorry. So game companies are hosting their own content. Content creators are making stuff on that. Journalism, like traditional like games journalism, is still dealing with your press releases, your press releases, your junkets.
And your investigative journalism. Let's not forget that there is a big swath of it that is actual classic journalism.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken about this with my lot a couple of times because I'm very good friends with Robert Purchase over at Eurogamer, who for a while was one of the few peeps doing real strong, like, investigative stuff. But now we have, like, NoClip, we have People Make Games. There's this real hunger for investigative journalism. I mean, the Riot stuff, holy crud. Holy crud. That was something that blew the doors off.
I mean, and a lot of that was not possible because it's still rise and potential of indies. Because remember, indie was it was like a genre that mattered. Like calling it an indie was like, now it's like, oh yeah, it's like two guys made that. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not a capital T thing anymore. Indie games were a thing. Like, oh, look at this unusual game. It was made by a man in his garage. Oh,
My God, evocative of the old classics such as DuckTales and That Time I Drank Too Much Mountain Dew and Passed Out. My God.
Exactly. Like, what do you mean this platformer was only made by one man?
My God.
Surely such a thing is not possible.
My monocle will fall into my Kool-Aid. My God.
Exactly. At that time, people were very, very, very reluctant to say anything because the industry's not that big, man, and everybody knows everybody. And if you are that person who, blew the whistle on whatever, you're never going to work again. Now that is, it's still the case to a certain extent.
Well,
but
not to bring up too much of the bad times because it's been covered a lot and it's not one we need to go into. But my buddy, I hate when I can remember someone's handle, not their real person name. Not quite Frodo on Twitter, who blew the whistle on what was it, like a horrible, like one of those reality TV cooking shows, but it was making games. And
He
blew the whistle on that, and then he was Jono-wise, no one would touch him. But now he's a writer at Riot, and he's always been a good egg. But it was interesting seeing that.
Yeah. And it's also take this.
Yeah.
That sound you hear in the background is my dog scratching the chair, by the way. She doesn't like it when I talk to people who aren't here. But Take This just put out a white paper about mental health in the gaming industry. And just a few years ago, you absolutely would not get anybody to talk about that.
Yes.
They're like, no, I'm not going to, no, mental health is not a problem in the gaming industry. Really? Okay, sure, sweetie. Because everybody assumed that...
Oh, J-Post.
That if they...
J-Post just threw us 100 cheers specifically for the scratching of the Deg. People love Degs.
She's my tiniest Deg. That's Chloe. She's a Chewini. She's awesome.
It is also interesting you bringing that up because, like, until EA Widow, no one was prepared to talk about like crunch and working conditions.
Mm-hmm. That's EA Spouse.
EA Spouse. Sorry.
Aaron Hoffman wrote for The Escapist. Thank you.
Shout out for the good times.
For the good old days, yes.
I'm gonna drop the Take This org paper as well because it's a very, very good read.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
No worry. I actually haven't done anything really to help Take This, and I bloody should now. I'm indie. Why have I not done that?
Yeah, you could do that. That would be kind of great.
Yeah. All right. Well, count me in. I will.
Awesome.
I will blep at you and find out a way I can do and help.
Thank you.
Sorry, okay, do you mind if I toot my own horn for just a little bit?
Do it. Do your thing, man.
So one of the things that we've done here, I'm very, very proud of, is we've got like a human support channel in our little crew, because what I proposed to people was the idea that if you were a giant robot, what would you need to do to keep yourself going? So one of the things I've been trying to do is all the stuff I couldn't do as a community manager for a pre-existing brand, and one of those is to promote like empathy and promote looking after each other, giving each other the space to learn, and knowing when to be like, hey, I'm not okay, and then people can be like, that's all right, or you should see someone properly about this. You know what I'm saying? We've managed to make an actual. We actually have managed to make that work, and I'm exceptionally proud of that. So that ain't just me.
Amazing.
That's Tal, Caffeine, Lizzie, and everyone like looking after each other here, and I'm very proud of that. So
that is absolutely outstanding, and this is the way this sounds, but it's wonderful to see a man, because men desperately need to be able to tell each other, I'm not okay right now.
yes,
I am having feelings that aren't just anger or horniness. Like, I'm actually a fully realized human, and I need to discuss that with someone.
shocking. I know.
I know, crazy, right?
It was it's something that I've wanted to be able to enact on. After I had my first kind of my first industry breakdown, I was like, oh shit, this was bottling, and I don't want to get into it too much because it wasn't. Like Susan, I got a real easy run of it. Even when I was like batting at a AAA level and we were crunching a lot, most of it was self-inflicted. Like, I was doing a lot and traveling and doing shows and all those things. So I wasn't like put to task or whipped by my employer, but I ran hot for basically a year and a bit. And then as soon as the game came out, we went straight into post-launch support because it launched. It was a very rocky launch. And it was like, after we finished doing 24-hour shifts where I was doing the night shift and we were just swapping out. So there was always someone. And yeah, I just remember just sitting in my bed and just bawling my eyes out. But I couldn't tell you why. It turns out human beings are complicated and you can't stress them out for a year. Who knew?
Go figure. How did this happen? Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, and the most revelatory thing for me, when I have had those moments, and I have had my share, is when who I am so immensely afraid of disappointing.
Yep.
Stand there and are like, girl, we got you. It's okay. Go do what, if you need to sleep for 16 hours, that's cool. If you need to cry hysterically, that's cool too. We'll be here when you get back. We don't feel any differently about you. You are not letting us down by having emotions. And that took me years to accept. So to create a space where, you and the folks in the chat and new folks can be introduced to that, like, no, we got you. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Whatever your brain is doing right now is valid, and we'll be here when you get back. That is a gift you can give to people. So good on you for doing that.
Thank you. So yeah, we got this lot have kept me upright for the last fucking year. So it's anyway. I could tell stories of Will sleeping on sofas and being a feckless idiot until also not only the cows but the rest of the barnyard creatures come home.
The chickens are there. They're like, hey, chickens, where you been? They're like, don't worry about it.
He's still going. We got time. He's still banned. So yeah, that was just something I wanted to bring on up. So jumping it back around. Aww.
Will, a human being, inconceivable. He's clearly a Cylon.
Very British Gale is saying I'm clearly a Cylon. I mean, if I was a Cylon, why was I programmed with feelings? That's just a jerk move.
That's true.
So yeah.
All this is like, there's a goose. No one remembers if it was here originally, but they're all too embarrassed to ask.
Oh, because I might actually be 3 corgis in a trench coat. There's
that's more accurate. That's more likely.
So yeah, actually, so Susan, I will blep at you about doing stuff for Take This. Probably sometime late this afternoon. Because it's one of those things. I can't believe I didn't think of this until we started talking. But so let's bring this party bus back around.
Yep.
So now we're in the age of the Triforce, and I'm gonna again pick on Polygon because Polygon do both great and terrible things simultaneously.
Sure.
No, terrible's the wrong word. Sorry. Polygon have been Polygon have been learning probably more visibly than others because of how they have branded themselves.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like in-house. Oh bloody
You
hell!
have feelings because every infallible machine has a fallible designer.
So British Gale, thank you for the bits because that's how I eat. Through an additional 500 saying you have feelings because every infallible machine has a fallible designer. That's meta, and we're back on the sandwiches.
Oh yeah. For anybody who was not here for the sandwich conversation earlier,
You missed out.
we need to. Yeah, it's going to be a game. Don't worry about it. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I managed to derail myself there. I apologize.
Polygon is learning. They're very much in the public eye. Go.
And it was if we use them as a point to articulate off, like, how do you see this landscape now? Because without a new communication platform added to the mix, I don't think things are going to change. Like, right now, like, video and streaming, traditional journalism, and then in-house content have kind of become the trifecta. Unless we somehow make people smell things over the internet. Like, there's not a new method for communicating. So, how do you see this shaping forward? Which is why the Polygon thing actually just derailed myself.
I think we're going to go back into. I honestly believe we're going to see a resurgence of zines, not magazines, zines, and then again, where people, because the big message is being taken care of either by the creators themselves or by a site like a Polygon, you're going to get these more personal analyses and approaches, and also about the game that came out yesterday. I think that's going to be the next, where it becomes even more personal. And maybe that has a business model associated with it, and maybe it doesn't. I don't know. That's really the crux of everything, is always where the money comes from. Like, how does the money go? Who does it go to? But like the idea of giving a YouTuber $10,000 to talk about a game will probably last for a good while, because that corresponds to other revenue models and other marketing models that exist in other forms of media. But if you want to talk about like the coverage of the medium as a whole, like, that's where I feel like it's going to go.
Very yes. And if we call back to your points much earlier in the show, paid for content creation, much like syndication in physical publications, has a very clear value proposition. I will pay you $10,000 and you'll make a video that will be seen by 100,000 subscribers.
Correct.
The value proposition of offer, while the output is never guaranteed, because it's all still feckin' dark magic and shamans in back room smoking stuff, but like,
it's true. But if they can throw in, like, use the code of, Happy Dog 20, and then they can actually track direct sales. Like, we spent this, here's the ROI, here's the tail of it, the video went up on YouTube on this day, here's the sale, you can get a lot of data from that.
And that's
data.
It's all about the metrics. Again, I got lucky because when I got into this side of things, the guy who kind of showed me the ropes was very, very into data-driven decisions, even when we were doing silly things. So we'd do a video and it would have, we'd do little features and we could see when people stopped watching. We could see what bits they were interested in. And, data-driven decisions, even when it comes to content creation, is a valuable thing. If you get that data, you know where you're going and you know where you come from.
And you can get all kinds of granular, like, you can, like, with emails, you can get down to the exact time of day it is best to send an email to get the biggest open rate. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and so long as that email doesn't start with exciting new Kickstarter,
Oh God, Jesus! Oh my, those have largely stopped too.
They
Thank
have.
God.
Because since I started doing content creation, I got added to the GDC. Oh, Lewis!
What ho from my work?
What ho to you too, Lewis? I got Susan on the line. How are you doing? That is, and also that's an 8-month combo. So thank you, Lewis. Hello, Nico. Sorry. I'm now on the the GDC press list emails, and it's a treasure. It's a treasure. Yeah. It's nice to know who's good and who's feckin' useless now. Yeah, there are a lot of PR companies that talked a real good game when I had a video game, and now I'm on the other side. I'm like, wow, you ain't worth like a Starbucks refill cup. So Alnus was throwing in a really interesting one back on the content creation, which was like getting Ninja to play Apex Legends for $1 million. Now, this is one that my life had to listen to a whole bunch, and I just want to say it. I still think EA did the bare minimum. They spent big, but the effort they put in, I still think was like, now. I have this theory, EA wants the Titanfall 2 team to just keel over, and I don't know why.
It is a little strange.
But Apex just ended up being a big hit despite. Because she had a launch window with bloody Anthem.
Oh, Anthem. Oh, bless. Oh.
Did you encounter much of Anthem on the run-up, or did you manage to just watch from the sidelines for that one?
Okay.
Story time with Susan! Yay!
Yeah, okay. So I have a dear friend at BioWare. And I asked them, I was planning one of my PAX panels, PAX East. And this person did not work on Anthem. I said, hey, you're going to be at PAX East. I'm doing a thing. Do you want to be on the thing? And they said, no, East, because I don't want to have to apologize for Anthem.
Oh.
This is long before it came out. I'm like, oh, God, okay.
Oh, no. I feel like I take no glee in Anthem failing, but it was interesting that you could see from their external communications how it was fishtailing.
Yeah. I feel like, and this is based on just my personal take. I feel like along the way, like BioWare made like boom, 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 right?
I'm looking at you, Jade Empire. I'm looking at you. You're a treasure.
Jade Empire wasn't like racist, but a treasure.
Oh god.
But I feel like EA forgot that it's not just the name, it's the people. Secret sauce of this particular group of people being together and working on these games and being allowed to work on these games the way they do. That's what made them legendary. And as soon as you try to syndicate that, you break it. And like, you can't just, oh, well, BioWare made a game, therefore it's awesome. You can get away with that like once.
Yup.
Right? And they did, and it was Andromeda.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, yeah.
I'm still. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna rein that comment back in, because that's throwing rocks at devs having a bad time is not how we roll here. But it is interesting to see that these large operations, that these teams get built out by a larger operation that tries to be like. Okay, I tell you what. Let's make some actionable discussions. So, what are some of the warning flags for you when dealing with projects like that? Because, I mean, for me, whenever someone uses terms like pillars or core values, because then you know the PR marketing teams are directly influencing like the. Because they're always in the wings, like, you know,
for sure.
And they do more good than harm most times. You're only aware of marketing when it goes bad.
That's true. And there is nothing inherently wrong with media training, because people absorb information differently, and you want to make sure that what you are saying is what people are hearing. And that is a big part of what media training is to make sure that the intended message is what is going through. For me, honestly, talk to the dev, because every dev I've ever talked to who loves their game, you can tell.
Okay.
They might be tired, they might be, but under that is love and belief. Hope you like it, because they sure do. And it comes through, and it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It's just the sheer joy of making the thing. And you can tell when it's not there. You might not know why it's not there, but you can really tell when it was and it got taken away. Right?
Yeah.
Like that, there's that kind of doing this for the team, but my soul has been taken out of this project and I am heartbroken. And you can see that. And that's the one, like, oh no. Because stuff happens during development, right?
Yeah.
Like,
games change, projects
change,
people move around. Sometimes the thing that you want to make, someone bigger and more powerful than you makes exactly the same thing and better, and you're like, cool, well, we got to change it. But these things happen.
Yeah, that happens. You know, the schedule changes, the money changes, the stuff. You find out, oh shit, this engine can actually do this thing.
I'm looking at you, CryEngine.
Oh bless. Yeah. So like, all right, like, and that's a different kind of heartbreak than this thing has been taken away from us.
Yeah.
That's, to me, like, we've got some really amazing quotes in the chat right now that are so spot on.
Right? Most ambitious crossover ever.
Yep.
This is something the industry has never seen before. Or the one that's got me a little worried for Death Stranding, it's a whole new genre.
Yeah.
Now, again, my lot know my feels in this one. We define our genres in video games based on the experience, so you can't really call it a new genre until it's been put in the hands of users, because we like, industry side, we'd love to call something a specific name, but it is the users that will decide. I hate the term walking simulator, but it's stuck.
Yeah. But I mean, you know exactly what it's evoking.
Right?
You know, the most immediate and clear is when they invent a word for something that happens in the game, like levolution.
I actually think that was the one bit that finally got my kidneys to stop working. It wasn't the years of binge drinking, it was levolution.
No. Levolution, or transfarring.
Although, alright, I need to... Susan, I'm sorry, this is confession time with Will now. So, Susan, everyone in chat, I need to make a confession right now. And you may not be able to look at me in the same way again after I tell you this. But hi, my name's Will Overguard. And by my understanding, I was the first person to say free LC.
No.
I haven't managed to find anyone else who said it first.
No.
Yup. We did free DLC alongside DLC for the Total War franchise.
Okay, but I don't hate free LC. I don't, because again, while it's corny,
Chat's like, ban the witch!
and fair. I mean, fair. But you know you know exactly what it is. Right?
Sorry, one person went, shame, ding, and Reflective's like, here's the last of my bits, unfollowed.
That's fair. I mean...
Ark's like, you were the chosen one! You were supposed to bring balance to the In fairness, Susan, I did actually get physically attacked by dogs for a video asset, so I guess it balances out.
Okay, yeah. I think karmically, you're now on an even keel. Yeah.
But no... Free DLC, as terrible a term as it was, it did kind of like, here's some DLC that's free. It's free DLC. Like,
exactly. You don't get the impression that people are sitting in a room with a whiteboard, like just trying to like,
Okay, we have E3 coming up. What kind of buzzword so that we have people talking about FIFA? We need someone writing about FIFA. They're not going to write about our goddamn driving game unless we come up with some kind of stupid term. So,
Right, I've got it. What do you do, right, when you kick a football? You whip it round. We'll go with whip select. We'll put it on the box. We'll put it in the price and marketing. It'll be lovely. Whip select your footballs. It'll be great.
oh God.
Give that man a pint now. Let's fucking get on to E3. I don't know why they're all
that was
suddenly from the north of
stupid.
England. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, all the best developers are, clearly. Duh.
Yes. Well, actually, Moose throws up a really interesting point, which is Devolver Digital's press stuff. They've basically just spent the last 3 years parodying all of this nonsense to great victory.
But here's the thing. Devolver very much knows who they are and is okay if you don't like it. And that's an incredibly brave thing to do in this industry.
Yup.
Like, they're like, to say, it's okay if you don't like our games is stones that the size of Cadillacs.
Yes.
Just to have that kind of attitude. But that is what is going to keep them sustainable.
Yes.
Because trying to please everybody, you just get this kind of meh. That's a 7 out of 10. Okay.
Eurogamer 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Sorry. For those that don't know, Eurogamer started getting accused of giving every game. Was it every game was an 8 or a 7? I forget. So
I think it was an 8. I think everything was an 8. Yeah.
Eurogamer 8 out of 10. And so they just eventually dropped the numbers because people were just ripping the piss too much. Oh, I still love that. But yeah. Like, Devolver, especially that first one with, like, their faux marketing person on stage just dropping buzzwords.
Oh,
like,
so good.
Yeah.
So good.
And then, like, the whole parody of, like, the crowds at E3 cheering nonsense.
Yep.
Just firing a gun into the air. You are professionals. You are professionals.
Here's my thing.
Go on.
There is a divide in the game journalism sect about whether or not you should applaud this conference.
Okay.
I am very much of the belief I don't see a problem with applauding.
Okay.
Because that should not be impacting your coverage.
All systems nominal.
Because British Gale just threw me a bunch of silver bits.
Man love sack 42 pride bro love go lalo heart z love brk heart kiwo love bike love thacker waffle wolf heart illusom kitty love glove crow jack love loco love hog love clam love aces heart
Mr.
spider
Editor's
love
going
less
house
than
with
3
Oh, hell
purple.
yes.
Nice.
Mr. Editor actually inspired me to have a heart emote in the full setup that we have.
Aww.
We have a little slug cat because I fucking love Rainworld's game.
Awesome. I love that.
This is our little one. So, Mr. Editor
Oh my god, look
A
at that. That's
baby.
ridiculous.
and Unitax just did their 9-month as well, so they just went a baby because it's a 9-month spree. It's fucking great. So, Mr. Editor, fucking thank you. And to Unitax as well. Fucking thank you. Right. Oh. So sorry for interrupting on that one.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Behavior at like the E3 presses. I always find this one interesting. And before, just very quickly. So with the Microsoft press conference, there's like a pit at the front. Friendos. That is all fans and employees. They get T-shirts. They're very clearly branded. Like they're not hidden in the crowd to be like hype people.
No. But when when they're doing the camera tight shot of the stage,
and people are going like, "Fucking yeah!"
Exactly.
You know.
And that I think is just okay. I get it because now these are live streamed.
Yes.
More of a it's not just for the people in the room. I get it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Oh, at Bethesda, I am the person screaming. That is me. I am such a Bethesda fangirl. Okay, so the last Bethesda land I went to.
Oh, I'm so gutted I missed Bethesda Land.
Mwah, oh, it's so good. So good. Okay, 2 things. One, it was the first E3 first and only E3 I attended where I was no longer a game journalist.
So you just got to like be instead of having to rush to like 3 meetings an hour.
Exactly. I was not representing a brand. I did not have any kind of ethics to uphold. Nada. I was just a person. Okay, so that. There had been some consumption of adult beverages.
What? In the game's Susan
I know.
Art,
I know.
Are you telling me that someone was drinking alcohol at a
Indeed, there had been in my day. Okay, so I was outside all day in LA heat, so it's like in the 90s. I hadn't eaten, and then there were adult beverages. And I'm at Bethesda's press conference.
Where there are free beverages.
The adult beverages. I'm like, yeah. Yes. So, huge fan of Elder Scrolls Legends, which is the card game.
Yeah.
It comes up in the video roll, because now they're going to do their section on it.
Yeah.
Go house.
Yes.
Just losing it. Yeah! Skyrim! I am now that person. So, sorry about that.
No, you nothing to apologize for. So the thing was, because I was dev side up until recently, I never had to hide that. So what most people know me from the industry as being like that overly keen person, being like, I fucking love your game!
Right?
Like, and it's very strange. It's very strange to see those at press junkets, you know what I mean? Because one of the things that was very strange for this year's one, and I don't mean this as a dig at Bethesda, but they were talking on stage about Fallout 76 and how it had done, and there was a certain amount of glib jerkness from good old Todd Howard, and he was getting a lot of cheers. And I was like, this doesn't line up. And then the announcement of the Battle Royale mode going into it, I was like, this crowd's going very, very wild. And this doesn't match. But then when they did their new IP announcements, the crowd was real quiet. And I'm like, there's something not right here. Because Bethesda actually kicked it out the park for interesting new IPs this year.
I agree, but okay, so people have asked me this. They're like, oh, well, are those employees? No. They are legitimately easy fans. Just bananas, bonkers fans that they bring to the event. Like, that enthusiasm, completely genuine. But completely genuine.
Yeah. You know what? We're not going to get into that track, because that was sorry, my brain was off on the, like, and one of the reasons that Bethesda are able to leverage this is that they have brought their community team into such a large proportion of how they communicate with the outside world. They take their fans into consideration, and they bring them over. Probably more.
They really do, yeah.
They have more of a direct interaction with them than a lot of the others, including people like Ubisoft, who have their, like, squad of, like, community superfans all branded and stuff like that. And it shows. It does show. It was just, I thought that was worth referencing in that. Because what's been really strange is that now I'm over this side, Twitch allows us to rebroadcast the press conferences. So what we do every year is we get dressed up like make-believe sportscasters and pretend that E3 is a sport.
Yeah.
Well, because you remember back in the day, especially like print journo, especially at the peak of the platform-specific magazines, the argument as to who won E3 was at times violent. And it was dope to get into those arguments, but it was always such a strange thing that people were arguing back and forth about who won a press event, right? And we now do that as a parody. But what's so interesting is I'm now watching them far more closely and seeing the quirks, which I didn't see when I was physically there. That's what I'm finding so strange at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And Aldous is making a real good point that I just want to touch on very briefly, it's alright, which is Ikumi, the lass who announced, I want to say it was something Ghost? Was it Tokyo Ghost? No. Oh, fuck, why is the name of the game dropped down?
Or, I forget, but it looked cool.
Yeah. Her genuine enthusiasm shone through.
Yep.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Ghostwire Tokyo. There you go.
Team.
Yep.
Her enthusiasm shone through. Keanu Reeves coming out for the Microsoft One. He was genuinely happy to be here, and his interviews after the fact kind of solidified it. He's now currently one of my favorite people because he was saying in post-announced interviews that video games don't need Hollywood to be legit. If anything, Hollywood needs to be coming to video games as a medium and making a case for their involvement, not the other way round. Yeah, no, you're breathtaking, right? I have lost... No, I wanted to go back to your earlier point about you can tell when that genuine heart is there, when that love shines through. So, dear Susan, how much longer have we got your time for? Because
it's probably about 7 minutes, because then I gotta go feed my dogs.
Degs? What's a Scottish dog, isn't it? Right, so friendos, this is the 7-minute quick fire round. We have Susan's time for a little bit longer, so if you have any questions about like classic game journo stuff, like Golden Age escapist, the state of things now. Questions about the dogs are also valid.
That is true.
Yeah,
I can talk about my dogs all day.
So Aldous was throwing, one of the things they loved about the early days of The Escapist was how it fostered up-and-coming talent that they enjoy to this day. Is there anyone you're especially proud of giving that initial step up for? I'm quickly going to say the Australian lads. He does TV shows now. They did Something Arcade. But sorry, what was one of yours?
For me, well, honestly, the writers that I trained and worked with,
Squad,
who have gone on to thing.
Do you want to drop a couple names so we can give them a shout out?
Chuck Wendig wrote for me. Honestly, the whole team, like Andy Chalk is now at PC Gamer. I'm immensely proud of all of them. Also, Gavin, Miracle of Sound.
Yes, Feck, Miracle of Sound.
So happy. I love Gav. Love. Loved what he did. Still do. And he's just such a lovely human being.
TSCTH would like to say, what's the hardest game you've had to cover?
Hardest as in difficulty? That would be Dead Souls. Not Dark Souls, thank you. Only the most difficult, as in like difficulty game. The hardest one that I've ever had to cover was Evil Within, because I didn't. Okay, so here's the funny thing about the coverage of Evil Within.
Yep.
Evil Within, if you have not played it, it's like someone was cleaning an office somewhere and found an unreleased Resident Evil game and released it. Very much like a classic Resident Evil game, which would have been amazing if it had been released in the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay, I am very much of the opinion that while that is, yes, I love Resident Evil back in the day, I was met with a lot of hostility and harassment from people who disagreed. Because obviously, I don't really care about survival horror. I don't think this is the greatest thing in the entire world.
Yes.
Probably the hardest one to cover from that perspective.
Okay. And that's a topic we could do days on. But we're going to continue with the quick fire round. Kestrel says, Little Bear, which is her youngest, wants to know what video game you enjoyed writing about the most.
Probably Little Big Planet.
Yay!
Because it's just joy in a box. Like, I love getting to cover games that are just about the joy of play. Just want to make your day a little more delightful. That is my favorite thing to do, is get to write about that and share it with people and communicate that joy to people.
Quite cool. Kandaran would like to ask, on the subject of your dags, how much of a good boy/girl are they?
They're all girls, they are all rescues, and they are all very, very good girls.
So, Mr. Squarepeg, that is a very good question. I mean, Susan, we can touch on that now if you would like, but I do not mind skipping over it, because that's not a quick fire one.
It's fine. It depends. It varies from site to on social media to emails of everything from the you're wrong, which is totally fine, by the way. Like, that's not harassment. That's just a disagreement, and that's okay.
Yeah.
To you're a horrible person, you got your job on your back, you should die in a fire, to being sent satellite pictures of my home. I'm gonna kill your dogs.
So, weird quirk. Every time someone told me to die of cancer, it was always specifically either butt or groin cancer.
Interesting, no?
Yeah, I don't know if it's there's definitely something that a psychologist could pull out of that. And Erin's like, I will find these people for you! Erin's got a robot. Like, it's one of the reasons I'm keeping Erin around is they are most likely to actually create a giant robot in chat right now.
I am down with that. I am 100% on board. The funny thing is, and by funny I mean incredibly horrifying and sad, you absolutely build up a tolerance to it, and you get to the point where people say these incredibly horrible things to you, but it's typical, so you're just like, really? That's what you've got? You want somebody to rape me to death? Come on, man. Like, there's no creativity there. Like, if you really want to hurt me, say something like, you're exactly like your mother.
Oh,
like that.
Damn.
Right? Like, I hope you can't eat dairy anymore. Like, that's the stuff that's really...
Susan,
really
like,
hurtful.
You gotta warn me before you're dropping lines like that. Like, Aldous is like, too real.
Right? Like, that's the stuff that actually hurts me. Like,
hey, you don't deserve to have your job.
Next there is, you don't deserve to have your job. I should have your job. That's
Yes.
always the context. And it's like, sweetie, no.
Moose with me. Your pizza always have pineapple. It's 2019, friends. If you want to put a feckin' fruit salad on top of a pizza, go for it. The planet's on fire.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, you do you. Live your life.
Tuna Taco says, your next line is, Tuna! What? Oh, and welcome. Ah, I see what you did there. Tuna. So, Lord Lost says to both of you, what kind of game do you like to play, genre and length? Oh, bloody hell. I will always go for... Oh, bloody hell. I always like the bait and switch. Like, tell me a game is one thing, feckin' side hit me with something else. Like,
nice.
You know, give me your narrative that turns into a survival horror. Give me your action adventure that turns into an RTS. Surprise me. Find your genre and then shake it up like a snow globe. Length, justify your length. Don't be afraid to make a short game. But don't apologize for making a 50-hour experience if it justifies it, you know? I could have played another 100 hours of Breath of the Wild if they'd had that much content in, you know what I mean?
I find for most games, 20 hours is the perfect length for me. But I am also perfectly okay walking away from a game that I haven't finished if I have had a good enough time with it. Where I'm like, yep, I have enjoyed playing that game. I don't need to play it anymore. And I still consider that a very positive gaming experience. It might have another 50 hours left in it. I don't care. I'm moving on, but I'm content with that experience.
So while questions are popping up, I'm going to add another extra one, which is, how long do you reckon it'll take us to make our sandwich dating game?
I'm thinking 3 months tops.
Okay, yeah, we can bring that together. Get a little itch.io page going.
Yep.
The thing is, my brain's like, I know like 2 artists we can afford to make this happen as well.
Oh yeah, no, I can, no. I have resources we can tap for this. I'm not kidding.
And if you missed this, friendos, I'll explain it to you later. It's too genius. Squarebag
It really is. Yeah.
Squarebag is asking, do you know about games that have yet to be announced to the general public?
Yes.
Next question. A larger portion of my post-GDC life has been people being like, oh, I wonder what this studio's doing, and me just twitching in one eye and being like, I have no idea. I do not know them. That is very interesting.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have the worst poker face for stuff like that.
I know, I'm terrible. I'm absolutely terrible.
There was another genuine question. Alpha Deluge was saying, what would you like to see the games journalism industry do more or less of in the future? Is there a pain point that you'd like to see changed at this stage?
There honestly is. Yeah. What I would like to see the game journalism industry do is get their head out of their ass. Because this has always been true to a certain extent, and I feel like it's just gotten more insular and more in a bubble. Acting like they're just normal people who play video games and love them, right? Like, and I understand that gamer, not everybody reads about video games, and I get that.
Yeah.
And the audience that reads, that actually will go to the effort to read about games, is a very small slice, and you do have to appeal to them, and I completely understand that.
Yes.
But and cancer, okay? Let's get a grip. Yes, video games are art, and they are incredibly important, and they can bring us together, and they absolutely do all of those things. There's no question about that. However, they're about fun. They're about being the release valve on normal life. Can we please get that joy back into our coverage of it? There, at some point of the atmosphere, of the ethos, of the thinking, that showing enthusiasm meant you were on the take, right? Like that you were some kind of shill. You could only be helpful as a journalist if you never said you liked anything, right? And that's garbage. Okay? This comes from the act of creation comes from a place of love. And commenting on it should also be coming from that place of love. And I don't see that in enough coverage anymore, and that is what I would like to see more of.
Yeah. If anyone wants to throw a clip of that one, that is definitely our quote of the day. Yeah, I love video games as a medium, and when you get to read someone else's passion for them, hear someone else's passion for them, I mean, even if you want to be a complete, like, monopolistic machine, that is what sells copies, is hearing that love, hearing that passion. Yeah. Like, I could talk about that one all day. I could talk about that one till the cows and the goose that we're not sure if it's a stranger or not. Whose goose is this? Why do we have geese now?
Yes, games are art, but they are also toys. Yes, spot on, yes.
Mr. Squarebag has another quickfire one before we release you to your goose wrangling, which is, have you met Tim Schafer? Is he a nice person?
Yes, and he can be.
Lord Loss is like, yeah, no, geese are mine, sorry. So, Susan, thank you so much for your time. I could legit jam on you. Jam. Oh God, I need another cup of tea. I could legit jam on these topics with you for hours.
Indeed, this has been an absolute pleasure. We need to do this again.
That is a very good idea. So I will work out a time we can get you back. I will blep at you about Take This this afternoon. And yeah, Susan, this was a joy and a treasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for trading tales and telling us about Dags and the fact that you were at the Garriott junket. Like,
oh my God, it was amazing. It was just, I've done such weird stuff, man. It was so weird. Everybody, it was lovely getting to spend the afternoon with you. Please follow me on Twitter so I can continue to associate with all you lovely folks.
Yes, let me grab your tweeters. I got it here. I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but Susan and I are both verified on Twitter. No big deal. No big deal.
True. That's true. Yeah.
I'm not saying we're better than other people, but.
Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. I just need to. Okay.
I was trying to bring it to a close. I'm sorry, Susan.
I know. But all the checkmark means is you say you are. It is not implied that we are better than other people. It just means that we are definitively because I get people who give me such crap over having a blue checkmark, and I'm like, okay, sweetie, first of all, Milo Yiannopoulos write a hit piece on you, then you too can have a blue checkmark because that's how I got mine. Okay, Thank you. Yes, take it down a notch. It's just Twitter. It's okay.
Yeah, I got mine because for a brief period. When Twitter was courting games companies, around about the time they bought Vine. They did workshops where they would teach you like how to market your video games on Twitter. They don't have to do that anymore. They don't have to flirt with games companies. And we went there and they were like, if your username is your first and surname, we'll sort you out. I was like, cool, done.
Yeah.
And so
that's simple.
Just sent them an email and they were like, done. But I get people being so salty about it. Like, how did you get verified on Twitter? I'm like, I'm just that good.
Yes, I'm sorry, I could tell you, but honestly, you should already know.
Also, as Chat's pointed out, the fact that they have found someone else who will do ridiculous voices on the regular. Yeah, we got to do this again, Susan. We got to do this again.
I'm there. I'm totally there.
Are you in town for this upcoming PAX?
I am not. Now that I don't have anybody paying my way, PAX West is way too pricey.
Understood.
For me to swing. So
because you have to.
It's like $1,000 to go cross country to Seattle.
Oh. Ow.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason I was going to say is because my current studio is in the arcade across the road from the convention center.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, which I walk past all the time. So, yes.
Yeah.
But no, sadly, will not be attending.
Okay, so, ladies, gentlemen, and individuals of all persuasions, please join me in once again thanking Susan for being a stonkingly good guest and an excellent person. Susan, thank you so much for your time.
You guys, you've been lovely. And that's my perfect segue. Yep, and I'm out. Bye.
Susan away! What a fecking wonderful morning, friendos. A fecking wonderful morning. Alrighty. So yeah, that was Susan on. We didn't even get talking about Piano 3. Like, we didn't have time. Because that's also one of the reasons why I've kind of ended up blepping at Susan so much on Twitter, is, as I was saying earlier in the show, one of the only other people who has played Piano 3 as much as I have. So, right. Friendos, I am going to grab myself a bevy. I'm going to nip to the loo, get some water, maybe get some food, and then we'll roll on into some games. We'll chat a little bit about some of the topics that Suna's brought up and all the cool stuff that we've been doing. It's going to be fucking good. Yeah. Oh, Marshall's saying what a wonderful morning. Well, it's 11 p.m. Time travel is weird. Yeah. And absolutely do follow Susan on Twitter, because their Twitter feed is one of the few little joys in my Twitter life. I've been trying to cut out people from Twitter who just tweet and retweet like hate and bad times, and Susan's a little bastion of joy there. Right. So let's get that OST rolling, so I can inflict some piano. So I see you, John. I see you. So I can inflict some tunes on you. Then we are going to be back. I haven't decided exactly what game we're going to be playing this afternoon, but we are spoiled for choice. Alright, so don't go anywhere, but thank you all for your exceptionally good questions and for just being bloody marvellous. Alright? Alright. I need some tea. To be continued. Wait. Do you want to... Wait, I can bring up the mosh pit, Sim. Do you want to get yourself a bevy as well, or do you want to smash into the mosh pit? What do you fancy? Oh, Aaron, yeah. Godhood's not a bad shout. Godhood's not a bad shout at all. Oh, the Artie Boy wants to do a mosh pit. Rhymes wants to do both. Lord Lost. All right. That's even better. I'll see you, lovely Mother Hubbard, in the pit. But it also means that I'm going to have to listen to the Piano 3 soundtrack on my own time. These are the struggles. These are the struggles, my friends. Alright, friendos. You all know the drill by now. When the Longship bot asks you, just type exclamation dance to make yourself a little like Mosh Sona. Good luck, be good to each other, and more importantly, have fun. Let's mosh.